position,
no
though.
one's running them down.
Can they pick
Gonna
him
jump
up?
directly over the top.
Oh, he's
Stuck on the high ground, but he's gonna have time to activate the BKB. And now this attempt, you dipped everything onto no one. He's not even gonna be killed. It was an all or nothing play for NIGMA. Unfortunately, it's not gonna work out for them. You run into the Aegis advantage, and now you will not be able to escape back inside the base. Miracle will die even without any stuns, and NIGMA, they will be eliminated in 2 quick games. Never really got to be competitive here in the one.
If you've ever followed the Dota scene, the Dota Pro scene, even slightly, you've probably heard of the name Kuroki, or maybe Sumail, or maybe MC, or maybe even Miracle, the once greatest player of Dota. He was simultaneously the best carry player and mid lane player in the world. And now shit like this happens to his team. Despite what you hear online about NIGMA, which basically stems down to scrubs and low MMR players telling pros how they should retire or kill themselves, and basically everything negative that sometimes is an attempt at constructive criticism, and sometimes it's just somebody lost a bet and he's mad and he just wants that team to suffer. They have been in poor form, I would say, since they were rebranded to NIGMA, even though they've had some success in the early days of NIGMA, in the beginning of NIGMA. Well, success related to the results they have now. But I think that it all went downhill from when they lost Matu. Because he fit the team really well, even though his hero pool wasn't that big. He showed later on in Team Secret that he could be an amazing player and he can be versatile. And Liquid, back then, or NIGMA, never wanted to explore that. They just fired him for some reason. And you could say that, yeah, they finished second in TI with Wiha. And you can't really call that a downfall. You can't really call that a fail. You can't call it a bad performance or anything. But I would say more and more teams have, in a way, understood Dota since then and are performing in a level above everybody else. The closest thing that comes to my mind was OG, when they were actually OG with Notel and Seb and Jerax, and now Team Spirit. In a weird way, you could even say that the NIGMA lineup now is, on paper, scarier than the Liquid lineup back then, because they have Sumail, right? And they have tried many different players on the position 4 and even the position 3 with FBZ now. But I would say the biggest factor when it comes to them losing, and especially this badly, is that they just don't want to play with each other anymore.
It's been a tough run for them so far. Qualifiers didn't go their way. Now you're dropping 2 quick games as well here as well.
Some people can say, oh, Kuroki, maybe he should retire. I'm not sure. But one thing that I did see on Dota 2 Pro Tracker is that, and I don't know if maybe he plays on somebody else's account. Oh, okay, wait, that's not allowed. But Kuroki doesn't have a single pub being played. So maybe just focus a little bit more on this, which is like 3 members of the current NIGMA. 1 TI, it's when they had the highest MMR ever. All 5 of them or 4 of them were like top 10, and then Kuroki was like top 50 or something along those lines. So definitely you need the confidence in winning in pubs, just like you do in winning competitive games.
They don't feel that spark and they don't want to improve as a team. At least that's my speculation. I'm one of these guys that only follows a certain team in every sport that they watch, and I only follow Liquid back then and now NIGMA. So I watch every single game of theirs, and sometimes when there is that spark, and it's rare but it happens. The most recent example are the 2 qualifiers for TI. They had their sparks, they had their amazing games, they had their amazing comebacks, and even in some of their losses you could feel that they just wanted to play as a team and they wanted to win the game. But the sad thing is that most of the time you don't feel like they have that motivation and they don't have that passion for the game anymore, at least not playing with each other, because every time they have played as a stand-in for another team, it felt like they wanted to win more and they actually were performing better than at their own team, which is quite frustrating to see as a fan. Sumail destroying mid laners while playing for another team and failing miserably while playing for NIGMA. I mean, how else do we explain it? They just don't want to play for NIGMA. They don't want to play together anymore, and that's okay. That happens. It has happened previously in esports. You know, you could look at other sports like CS2 or CS:GO back then. when Astralis was beating everyone, and 2 years later they disbanded because they just didn't feel the spark was there anymore. If you scroll online, most of the time people blame Kuroki for the draft, but I have seen them win drafts that are so out there as an idea and actually winning them convincingly. Sure, sometimes the drafts are fucking stupid, but I'm not really a pro, so I can't really say. Maybe they had an idea that just failed, you know, and that happens with every team, not only NIGMA. With the complexity of the game increasing immensely, I would say that's also a factor of why NIGMA isn't successful nowadays, because they're an aggressive team by nature. You can punish aggressive plays much more often now than not. You have supports that can tank the damage or maybe negate it with a spell and maybe negate it with an item. That just makes committing much more riskier. I've been asking myself this question for maybe 5 years now, basically since they started the slump. They've had their moments here and there, but not qualifying for TI so many years in a row just fucking sucks as an NIGMA fan. They have a long break, maybe about a month, since they have to perform again on the China tournament that they were invited to, and I really hope that they either focus up and show the world what they're capable of as a team, because they have shown it a couple of times this year, or after another massive failure make a big difference in the team. People don't want them to disband, I get it, maybe that's not the only way out, but they sure have to do something. Anyways, enough of another scrub just thinking that he knows the game on a pro level. I've been Ballistic and I hope you see you next time. Goodbye.